hold on, y'all, just a second. That's right. Hey, y'all, it's Amanda, and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it on your Facebook page. Okay, so we are doing our first garden tour of the spring season. We are going to be doing a two-part tour. The first part, the one we're doing right now, it's going to be the front garden and the side garden. The second part will be the back garden and the shade garden, just because it would be like 2 hours long if we decided to do everything together. But I'm currently in the front garden. This direction is north. And then we're going to be going to the side garden, which gets mostly wet west sun. So the front garden is looking really good. I do want to go ahead and point out I have not done my spring porch yet. It is coming hopefully in this next week. And there still are other projects to do. However, I'm really happy with the direction of the garden, especially because I grew so much myself this year, which is really, really exciting. Over here, you can see that we have a lot of Dutch iris coming up. These were planted in the fall, and this is a mixed variety. So it's a mix of yellow, whites, purples, blues, really, really beautiful blooms. And these technically are perennial in my area. However, they are finicky. So I feel like less and less come back each year. So I do have to replant the Dutch iris every couple of years. These are excellent for cut flowers. All right, so working around the front, all the bold color you can see are petunias. Specifically, this deep rose color is Super Cascade Rose that I grew from seed. And then the pale yellow colors that you see are Sunshine Prism, also grown from seed. And I like to do a lot of my petunias from seed because they don't last very long in my North Texas area in our heat. As soon as we get close to basically the end of May, it just is way too hot for them. Okay, so I'm just pulling off some of the daffodils. These 3 spring containers that I planted up are doing really nicely. I am needing to come in and making sure I'm deadheading stuff because if you don't deadhead things like the geraniums and like these really fun Gerber daisies over here, they will think that they need to produce seed. And when they produce seed is when they stop producing flowers. I'm also pulling off the dried flower heads from these daffodils in here because we don't want the daffodils spending time trying to make seed either. I'd rather them focus on having bigger, stronger bulbs. You can see these snapdragons that overwintered are about to start blooming and looking really nice. And even my leopard plant back here it's probably doubled in size since I started it, which is really, really exciting. But yeah, continuing to deadhead is super important to keep blooms going. Like even this bloom right here is really spent. So I know it's not fun looking at me pulling those off, but it will help produce more plants. This lobelia has lost its ever-loving mind. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm so excited with it. I have some dianthus. Y'all are going to see me deadheading a lot. It's just something important to do as the flowers age to encourage more blooms. I do have some phlox right here and some phlox right here that is coming to bloom, looking really, really nice. Those are both proven winners. I think like Pinkadot is what it's called. And also my Alberta, my dwarf Alberta spruce, you can see all the pale green growth. This is all new growth on it. And this is pretty much full grown. It's looking really pretty, but the new growth is all very, very soft and looking very nice. These containers, I'm very happy with how full and happy they are. And then some of these plants will change as the summer goes on, but we will utilize some of the ones that are already here. So we'll just only change out a few plants at a time. Okay, this purple plant down here is Calamintha nepeta blue. It's called Calamintha Marvelet Blue is what it's called. And I grew this from seed. It is a perennial and I'm obsessed with it. I'm going to totally grow more for next year. But I love the cottage garden look. It's about full grown, what you're seeing right now, and it just mixes so well with the petunias. I think it just looks lovely. Very excited to continue growing it. Now walking this way, we do have more Dutch iris that are doing really good. This area is kind of blah right now. I am going to be coming through. I've got a couple of containers that are going to be tucked into some of these areas. And then these are all daffodils that are done blooming. We are going to be tucking in some, oh goodness gracious, what is its name? Okay, well, I'll put the name below in a picture that I grew from seed. And I got the shorter variety. It's a beautiful purple color. It's going to be tucked in among here. We do have, if Jeff comes closer to this container right here, I do have, this container's doing really nice. It does look like it needs some deadheading as well. You can see that we're just about to have this Garden Wonder dahlia bloom, which is really pretty. And that's one of the ones that I did from tuber from Costco. The bacopa spilling over the front edge is really, really beautiful. But this container is filling in quite nicely. Okay, the front curve is filling in nicely. You can see that the oh crap, something, ow, okay, ow. Okay, the Rose Queen Cleome, something bit me, is blooming and looking really, really nice, filling in nicely and branching out really nicely, which that was one of my big goals with it. Last year I didn't pinch it early enough and it just grew straight up and then that was it. And so these are looking beautiful. These make for excellent cut flowers. I'm not going to be cutting them for cut flowers. I put them in the garden because I really want that cottage effect, which I think will look really nice. Now in between them, I've got some China asters growing up. These are the China aster seedlings and they're going to grow up and be beautiful. And then right at the base of them is my deep purple petunias that I also grew from seed. They are taking their time spreading, but they are on their way. They're not growing as fast as some of the other petunias, but I still think they're very, very pretty. And I especially like them with the backdrop of the gray Dusty Miller. I think looks really, really nice. Now, I'll have Jeff swing around here. You can see that my hardy hibiscus is starting to send up shoots for the season. And pretty soon it will become the main focal point for this front curve, especially during the summer. It'll be absolutely gorgeous. And so I've definitely got the consistent cottage factor around the front with the cleome and the petunias and the asters. We have some perennials that are starting to come to fruition. So let me get Jeff to swing around so that you're getting all of this part. I want you to be able to see all that too. Sorry, my dad stopped by. Okay, so there's actually a lot going on in this area, even though it might not look like much. This right here is penstemon, which is a perennial, and it's going to put off some beautiful chocolate colored stems with white blooms, which will be gorgeous. This is a Texas rock rose, which will produce beautiful bright pink blooms for the whole season. Then we have things like this tucked in here. This right here is a dahlia. There's another dahlia over here, and this is actually back here. It's kind of hard to see, but this all is dahlia right here. These are dahlias that consistently come back in this area, which will be really pretty. And then, of course, I've got the asters and the petunias tucked in so that you kind of blend the side portion to the front portion, which will be really, really nice. Over here, we definitely just have daffodils that are at the end of their seasons. Now, I do have my topiaries here, and they came unstrapped from their supports. So I need to go back in and connect them back to their supports so they're not leaning. But the topiaries, these Eugenia topiaries, are doing really nicely, and they've been very happy, and they've done really well in these really heavy concrete bases or terracotta bases. And they've stayed upright, which is a big deal because this whole side of the garden is west facing, and it seems like all the wind whips down this side, down this portion of the street. So these get a lot of wind shifting them this way. But that one's looking really, really nice, and I really like the look of the two together. I also have things like, this is a Caryopteris that's starting to come forward. We have some gladiola bulbs starting to come forward. And of course, the Helen von Stein lamb's ear is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this area, I've talked a little bit to y'all about how wanting to put some beautiful trellis or something here at some point, but we did a lot of work on this little portion of the garden. Now up front, you're going to see the Autumn Joy sedum, or I think that's Autumn Fire, and you're going to see some petunias that I grew from seed. But in the back, we have a lot of perennials going that I started myself, including some David's phlox back here, or this is David's phlox over here. This is Jupiter's beard, mixed with Jupiter's beard. This is a weed. There's some weeds mixed in here. We have some foxglove in here. This is verbena. So there's a lot going on back here that's going to get nice and tall and fill in this space. Several of them are perennials, which is great. We've definitely been adding a lot of perennials to the garden, specifically growing them from seed or from bare root. So I'm really happy with how this space is filling. I'm not sure that my garden has ever looked this full this early. So I'm really psyched about that. Now the daisies you see over there are the oxeye daisies. They've reseeded themselves all over my garden in different areas. I don't love them, but they're fine for early spring color, and then we'll cut them all the way back to the ground once they're done. Now in the container right behind it is an Italian stone pine. It is set up to drip. It is beautiful. I love its evergreen color, and I really love these fronds that it's putting in. It just adds a lot of interest to the space. Now immediately to the right of that, down here, these roses right here is an At Last rose, and it's already been putting off tons of blooms already. Which is very exciting. And this is its first full season in that location. I did not move that to that location until midsummer of last year. And of course we have another of the Eugenia topiaries tucked in behind it. But you can see that layering is really starting to come together in my garden. And it takes time. Like, I mean, this side garden right here is 5 years old. It was my COVID project, and I've made a lot of changes along the way, but you can see I'm really starting to layer in a lot for a very full, lush feel. Okay, so this portion of the garden, you can see the very last of the double bridal spireas. They were beautiful this year. They don't last for very long. And probably in about another 2 weeks, we'll do a massive prune back on those, which will be, I actually think is really fun every year. And the centerpiece of this is the Ruby Falls Weeping Redbud, and it is done with its flowering, and now it is putting off all of its beautiful kind of maroon burgundy leaves. Absolutely gorgeous. And this was one of the first things I planted in this side garden to be the feature for years and years to come. It is full grown at this point, so it is an ornamental about 6 to 8 feet tall, and absolutely lovely. We did a lot of thinning out on it this last fall, so there are some like harsh cuts in some different places. It was just getting so tight that it was causing some rubbing issues on some of the limbs, and I did not want to have wounds where it had rubbed together and introduced disease. But it's looking really nice. Along the front is an interesting mix. It doesn't look like much now, but earlier it was snowdrops, and you can see some remnants of the snowdrops. I had a few daffodils in there. And as those begin to die back, you'll start to see some of this other green foliage pushing forth, and that is going to be coneflower. Lots of different varieties of coneflower are worked in amongst these bulbs. And so probably in about another 3 to 4 weeks, once all of these bulb leaves start to turn yellow and brown, we'll cut them down to the ground and we'll make room for the coneflowers to really take effect. And they really are just buried throughout the space in different places. So very exciting. I did tuck in a few containers recently to the space, and you'll really start to be able to see them once the spirea get cut back in a few weeks. Okay, continuing on the west side garden, we have a lot blooming. Obviously, the one that's blooming the most right now is this beautiful autumn sunrise bearded iris, which is crazy gorgeous. I'm obsessed with it. It's absolutely beautiful. This has been, if you need an iris that goes bonkers, this was a single rhizome just a few years ago, and it, quadruples in size every year. The blooms are really lovely. I really love the soft peachy colors of it, and it has multiple blooms on each stem, and it's just lovely. And then of course when it's not blooming, I actually really like the spiky foliage of bearded iris. I think it looks really, really beautiful. Obsessed with that. Now moving off to the side, we did some work back in here, and you can see a few things. I've got this really kind of taller, leafier one is verbena. We've got some purple echinacea coming up. We've got some pale purple echinacea as well that we planted in those. Those are going to be nice. And as you scan forward, you can see some phlox, actually dianthus, that's what I'm trying to say, up front, which is looking beautiful. And even the balloon flowers that are starting to come up nicely as well. Now scanning up, we've got a container here that has Princess Charlene de Monaco rose. And Jeff, why don't you come and take a look at some of these roses. It's really starting to put off a lot of blooms. It's a little bit more peachy than I thought it was, but very, very pretty blooms starting to come off. And it's probably going to put off at least 50 plus blooms. And this is its first real spring in this container. And it's looking really nice. And I actually really do love like the petunias coming across the front. Now, one of the things, sorry to mix up in front of y'all, that will be revealed when we cut back the spirea is, oh good, we're getting, is thistle. And this is Blue Star Eryngium that I started from bare root last year. And look, it's putting off its first stalk. It did not bloom for me last year, but this is going to be beautiful blue flowers. So super excited to see that happening. And that will all fully be revealed once the spirea is trimmed back some. Okay, I'm going to climb in the garden for y'all. We have another Italian stone pine right here, which is looking really pretty. Over here, we have another bearded iris. I cannot recall the name of it, and I do not see the tag down here, but I will put it below for y'all. This guy started as a single rhizome as well, planted at the same time as this autumn sunrise right beside, right? And this guy is just now putting off 2 stalks in 1 year. So it has grown way slower than the other variety. Now back here we still have more of the verbena. We've got more purple echinacea, purple coneflower coming up. And then I'm trying to wiggle my way around. We recently worked on this whole section. We added a bunch of gladiola bulbs, liatris. We have zinnia seedlings. This is the Windwalker Red Salvia, which is looking really pretty, and actually remembered to stake it this year before it got too crazy. So I'm really excited about that. Got a container right in front that's got dahlias that I started from tuber. They're all from Costco, and that beautiful orange dahlia is called Summer Flame. And all my containers are hooked up to drip irrigation, which is very important. I wanted to point that out, especially since this is a west-facing garden. And yes, I'm over here deadheading. I need to come in and be more consistent. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing over here. This dianthus smells so good. So coming over and deadheading is really important, and I'll come over and do some more of this afterwards. But if we want to keep these blooming, I got to keep deadheading them. And then in the center of this container, I have a thistle that I also grew from bare root. I don't know if it'll bloom this first year because my other ones haven't in the past, but be very excited to eventually have giant blue flowers growing up through this. I think it'll be really nice. Okay, it might not look like there's a lot going on in the front, but there really is. Back here I have some crimson brocade asters that's just starting to come up. I've got zinnias. I've got three peach mesa gaillardia that I grew from seed coming up, and a coneflower. And then across this whole front part, this kind of ferny looking foliage is all cottage yarrow that I transplanted from another part of the garden. And it is so happy here and so beautiful. And I love how much of the ground it covers to help prevent weeds. But it's looking really nice. And eventually, I mean, we're getting to the point where the daffodil leaves will be cut back. Once more of them look like this brown look, we'll cut all those back and you'll just see the frothiness of the yarrow. And mixed in it, I have sedum mixed in it, which is really, really pretty. And I have stuff like homestead verbena, which is crawling through it as well. But this whole space right here, I'm just really obsessed with that front portion because it just looks so healthy and lush, and it suppresses weeds wonderfully. So shifting towards the right, we do have some more iris continuing to come up, and some of its stalks. This is a later blooming iris that's called Peach Jam, and it is starting to send up a bunch of stalks. We have a kaleidoscopabelia, which just adds a really good punch of contrast in the space with those yellow variegated tones. And I really think it brings a big focal point to this particular area. And then right above it is another bearded iris. I can't recall the name. Let me see if I can look down in here and see if it has a tag anywhere. I can't recall the name, but I can put it below for you guys. Yeah, I don't see the tag anywhere, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Lavender colors. I mean, come on. Absolutely beautiful. And then across the front, I just have some of my perennials, some more petunias that I tucked in for color and things along those lines. I'm going to get Jeff to shift down towards the right. Now over here, I do have a Earth Angel rose peeking out. Seeing a few blooms. The blooms don't look very happy, although there are a lot of blooms, but maybe this guy needed some more fertilizer. It's looking kind of meh, so we'll keep an eye on it. And across the front is Nepeta. Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. It's very happy and hearty across the front. And I love how it kind of borders this really beautiful orange rocket barberry, which has this stunning red color that I'm just obsessed with. And you can even see that some of the Nepa is crawling up through it, which is really, really fun. Okay, so the last portion of the side west-facing garden is from about here over, and I have not done anything to it this season at all, so there's not a lot going on. I will say there's a lot of weeds going on that haven't been pulled up, and I mean like big weeds, like y'all, like this, like big weeds in here. So there's work to be done, but we'll get here. This right here is Russian sage, which is growing in beautifully. We have some blue rush grasses growing in. I have a container tucked in that I haven't planted yet. And this portion over here underneath the tree is actually where all of the cottage yarrow used to be. And you can kind of see it in a few places peeking out because I didn't get it all, I guess. But what I did when I moved the yarrow is I came back and I put in the Helen von Stein Landseer. I transplanted it from some places and it has filled in beautifully. And the goal is for it to fill in this whole space underneath this beautiful smoke bush tree, which is actually starting to flower when you look at it. So these are its flower heads coming to fruition. And it's looking really beautiful. We did a lot of work on this tree last year because it almost fell over in a spring storm. And so we did a lot of pruning to make it that it wasn't so top heavy. And I know it probably looks really top heavy right now, but trust me, it was like 12 feet tall. Am I right, Jeff? Yeah, it was like 12 feet tall. But this is what I wanted it. I wanted it to fan out, this beautiful fan-like effect. And we are definitely achieving that at this point. Even look how beautiful this comes over all the way over here, considering the tree is planted all the way back here. So it's going to be really fun continuing to work on this particular area. I actually want to put a sculpture tucked back in here, a concrete sculpture that's kind of lighter in color, so that it will really contrast with the burgundy, but I want to tuck it back in here and then continue to allow the space to fill in with the Landseer. I think would be pretty. Now, I do have some perennials going on back here that I started from seed. Ironically, oh, there's a little lizard. Oh, there's lots of stuff going on here. Okay, this is Iberis, which is Candy Tuft that I grew from seed, and it came back this year and it's like really far behind. It hasn't even flowered yet, so I don't know what we're gonna be doing that. This right here is some calamentha, some white calamentha that I transplanted here. That's looking really, really nice as well. And then over here on the far right, we have a Belinda's Dream, which is an earth-kind rose for our area. So it does beautifully. These blooms will double in size, and they also smell amazing. But I love the idea of this rose filling in this space. Now, there's nothing underneath it, the rose at this point in time, but the goal will be to extend some type of ground cover, just like what we've done with the Landseer. I don't want to continue the Landseer, I want to do something different, but to fill in all this space at the base of the rose and then just allowing the rose to speak for itself. Okay, so to the left real quick, I will say this is all the mulch that still needs to be moved. We're going to do that this weekend. But this side garden feels like a massive triumph this year. And I know Jeff and my family will agree. It is so full of color, so full of texture, and layers that I've added year upon year upon year. And it is starting to just really be breathtaking, especially at moments when you see like the bearded iris blooming. But all the color, all the abundance, all the fullness and texture, cottage style garden with just things that I love. I mean, that's what really gets down to it. I filled it with plants that I'm obsessed with and that I love, that I've had my hand on. and it's really starting to come to fruition. I'm just so excited and so happy. And this was really the first season that I approached working on this west side garden in a little bit of a different way. Because what I did is, instead of just planting all over the place, I really worked section by section by section by section all the way down. And because I grew so much from seed and so much from bare root, so incredibly cost effectively, it has really allowed me to put a whole lot in this garden and really up it to the next level with a minimal expense. Now, labor and time, a lot on that. I'm going to cover my microphone a little bit. A lot of time has been spent on that. However, minimal amount of money. And I think, if I were to run my numbers and go back and see how much I spent this year compared to the look that I am currently receiving, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so that is the front and the side garden tour for you all. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've tried to put a lot of the names of the plants up for you all, because I know that my southern accent just butchers botanical names, any kind of vocabulary it butchers. But I'm really happy with the color. I'm really happy with the brightness. I'm happy with the texture and how everything's coming in. And I'm really looking forward to the season as I continue to grow from seed and bare root. Now, we apologize for the wind. There's nothing we can do about it. We have a massive storm blowing in, which is why Jeff and I are trying to do tours today before everything gets messed up by the storm. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's tour. Make sure you stay tuned and check in tomorrow for the backyard and shade garden tour, so you can see those gardens. As always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of your video, at the end of the video, and that you say hi. And be sure to jump over and check out my Patreon community. The link is in this video description. I am only doing social media posting on Patreon from this point moving forward. I love it because it's people who are all things gardening and all things She's a Mad Gardener. It's people who just truly want to be there. I think we're up to like 120 people. There is a free tier, so you can see just some of my daily going-ons. And then there are additional paid tiers. The higher up you are in the tier, the more access you get, including additional videos that are unavailable on YouTube, chat features, and being able to share photos with me. And we are doing our first live in April. I think I just got bit by something in April as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But be sure to go check out the Patreon community. It's just a really great group of people. And we just share our gardens with each other, which I absolutely love. All right, you all. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.